Now the topic before us is different types of interview questions. When you are appearing for the interview, the interviewer may ask you many types of questions. We will briefly discuss the different types of interview questions which may be asked by the interviewer to the candidate. First is case questions. Case questions are a popular way for the interviewer to assess a candidate's problem solving, analytical and decision making skills. We will give you some examples of case questions. Suppose the interviewer may ask you that the company is experiencing decline in the sales in a particular market. What steps would you suggest to address this issue? Another example may be, imagine that a new product has been launched in the market, and what steps would you suggest for the marketing campaign for the new product? Another example of the case question may be that a company is considering an acquisition. How would you analyze the financials of the target company, and how you evaluate whether the acquisition is a good investment or not? Another example of case question may be that a manufacturing company is experiencing quality issues. How would you identify the root cause and implement a solution? Case questions will depend on the industry, the role, and the company, but generally, the candidate is required to think creatively and logically to solve a problem and make a decision. It must be noted that while giving answer to the case questions, the candidate should remain calm and organized so that he can give proper reply to the case questions. Next type of questions which may be asked by the interviewer may be behavioral questions. Behavioral questions means those questions that are asked by the interviewers from the candidates so that the candidate can describe his past experience or behavior. These questions are used to assess how the candidate is likely to behave in future. Some examples of behavioral questions are, can you describe a situation when you have to handle a very difficult customer and how you handled the situation? Next point is, there may be a circumstances when you have to handle a very difficult employer. How you handled the situation that time? You may be asked a behavioral question that, tell me such a time when you had to meet a tight deadline. How did you manage that deadline, and what was the outcome of that situation? The next question, which may be a behavioral question, may be, can you share an example of a time when you had to adapt yourself to the new environment, and how did you handle the transition, and what was the outcome? Next is, the interviewer may also ask you role play questions. In this, the interviewer asks you questions relating to the point that you are to put yourself in some another role, and you are to describe how would you handle the particular situation. Here the role play questions example may be that, suppose you are a salesperson and I am a potential customer. Try to sell me your product or service. Next may be that, imagine that you are a customer service executive and there is a customer who is very quarrelsome nature. how would you handle the situation? Next point may be that you may be working as the in charge of a in a particular office, and there is an employee who is upset about a recent decision taken by you. How would you handle the particular employee who is not happy with your decision? The purpose of role play questions is to get a better understanding of the problem solving skills, communication abilities of the candidate, so that the interviewer may come to the conclusion whether the candidate should be selected for the job or not. Next point is, some questions are industry specific, that is, they are related to the particular industry in which the particular company is working. For example, in case of the education industry, you may be asked a question: have you adapted yourself to the online learning, and what strategies have you found effective in engaging students in an online environment? In the case of hospitality industry, you may be asked a question: how would you handle a difficult customer if there is a customer, and how you handled the difficult customers in the past as well, and what strategies do you use to ensure a positive customer satisfaction? In the case of finance industry, you may be asked a question: how do you stay updated in view of the continuing changes in the financial markets? Next, in case of the health industry, you may be asked: how would you ensure the confidentiality about the particulars of the patient? Next type of questions which may be asked by the interviewer are brain teasers. Brain teasers are sometimes used in the interviewers to assess a candidate's problem solving, creativity, and ability to think critically under pressure. There are certain examples of brain teasers. For example, you may be asked: you have a cake before you, and you need to cut it into 8 equal pieces using only 3 cuts. How can you do it? This is an example of a brain teaser. Here you have to apply your mind. You have to relax your mind and think how you can give reply. The answer may be that you are to take the cake and you are to cut it vertically. Then you are to cut the cake into 2 halves in horizontally. Now you have 4 equal pieces before you. Now you are to keep the 4 pieces one on the top of each other, and you are to cut down these 4 pieces from the center. Now you will have 8 equal pieces before you. Next question, which may be brain teaser, may be such like that: there is a snail at the bottom of 30 feet well. Every hour, the snail climbs 3 feet and then slides down 2 feet. How many hours will it take for the snail to come out of the well? Here you are to apply your mind that this snail is climbing 3 feet, but it comes back 2 feet back in each hour. It means that during 1 hour it makes the progress of only 1 feet. So it will take the snail 30 hours to come out of the well, since it needs to climb 30 feet to reach to the top. When presented with the brain teaser during an interview, take a moment, relax your mind, gather your thoughts, and ask for any clarifying questions. It is okay to vocalize your thinking as you work towards a solution. It means that you may speak something in your mind, or there may be some thinking when there you may be speaking slowly in your mouth when you are arriving at the decision to answer. Remember that the interviewer is less interested in the answer you arrive at. The interviewer is rather more interested in seeing how you approach a difficult problem. Then there may be some general questions which the interviewer may ask you. The questions may be such like that: tell me something about yourself. Why do you want to work with us? What are your long-term career goals? Explain your reason for leaving your previous job. What motivates you? What experience do you have in this field? What qualities do you think make someone successful in our industry? Why are you qualified for these positions? What questions do you have about the organization? It is important that you should make a list of general questions in advance, and you should make the practice that how to give reply to these questions. Remember to answer these questions thoughtfully and honestly. Thanks for watching. If you like our course, please spare some time to give a star rating to our course.